Okay, great. So in this segment, we are going to be looking at the steps.
Sir?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. You want to ask a question?
No, sir. I never did that area a while ago.
Okay, but you're hearing now.
Yes, sir.
All right, good, 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 good. All right, so we're going to pick up from where we left off by creating some layers. In the interest of time, we will not create all the layers. We will just create the first 7, and then I will go ahead and create the rest, and the next session we'll have all the layers in the file. So let me introduce what the layer standard looks like. This is what it looks like. What you're seeing is a list of layers that we're going to be using for the set of drawings. So we have the wall layer, the dimension layer, number 3, the door layer, the fixtures layer, the text layer, the window layer, and the foundation wall layer. Now the letter that comes in front represents the category of the layer. So if it's A, you know it's an architectural layer. If it's S, you know it's a structural layer. If it is M, it's a mechanical layer. If it's C, it's civil, L, landscape, P for plumbing, and so on and so forth. Yeah, a whole lot of categories. So for example, wall is an architectural wall layer. Wall layer also carries a modifier where it's telling you what type of wall. So this is concrete wall. You know, wall can be made out of several materials, but the one that we're going to be using is a concrete one. So the second column represents the name of the layers. The third column represents the colors. Now this software has 255 colors. Of course, we're not going to be using all 255, but not all of them have a name. Some of them have a name. So whenever the color has a name, the name will appear. If it doesn't have a name, what will happen is that it will show up with a number, and that number is called the index color. So the fourth column basically represents the index color. So it's easier for us to find a color by just typing the number and it just find the color. So we won't be wasting time looking for any color by name or by number. We just type the number and it will go in. So we soon look at how that is done. Then we are going to also assign some lines will be continuous lines, some lines will be hidden. Number 7 will be a hidden line. All right, somebody want to ask a question? Yes? Go ahead. You raise your hand. The person who raised their hand want to ask a question? That's Lanita. Oh, there's no audio options. I won't be able to hear you unless you enable your audio. All right, so while you're sorting that out, we can move on. So we're going to have the line type, which is either going to be a continuous line or it's going to be a broken line. So layer number 7, which is the foundation wall layer, basically has a line type that is hidden. So we're going to be looking at how you load the line type. As well as some of our lines are going to be very thin and some will be, so we'll look at how you work with line weight as well. Is that clear? Now, as I said before, in the interest of time, I'm not going to be creating all the layers. I'll just do the first 7 and then I can just put in the rest and next time we just use them. But what I have done on the next slide is to indicate how to do the different things, like how you would create a new layer, how you assign the color, the line type, all the properties. So we are going to begin by starting the creating of the layer. So let me go back to the previous slide and then we're going to begin. Now I know the names of these layers. I don't have to really come back and I remember the colors. So I'll just walk you through and then probably give you a minute or two to do the same thing on your computer and then we proceed. Okay, so let me do a switch over now to AutoCAD. So I'm going to be sharing my AutoCAD screen at this time where I'll begin the creating of layers. All right, so to create a layer, you can either go to your home tab on the ribbon and there's a panel called layers. The very first icon on it is called layer properties. You can click that icon or your shortcut is LA, the first two letters of the word layer, LA, enter. And what that will do, it will launch the layer properties manager. Now, let me just drag it on screen a little more. And it can be auto hide with this button. So it rolls up. If you do that, it's auto hide. And if you click back on it again, it opens up. Now, if you want to not have it rolling up on you, then you can turn off the auto hide option. Right now, my auto hide is off. So I'll keep it off for the time being, because if it is on, anytime I come off the palette, if I'm off, it rolls up. When I come back on it, then it will roll out again. So it's a plug and play feature. You come off, it rolls up again. So I want it to stay out. So for that reason, I am going to turn off the auto hide. So when you see the double-headed arrow, you know that the auto hide feature is off. All right, so the only layer that comes default in AutoCAD is the zero layer. Now, all this time you have been drawing in zero layer, and that was fine. We were not concerned about layers, but we're at the stage now where so the zero layer has a purpose. I will be telling you the purpose of the zero layer later on. It has a very important purpose, which we will talk about later on. So we are going to be creating some new layers. So to create your new layer, you can either click on this icon here to create a new layer, or you can hold down the Alt key on the keyboard. And while holding down Alt key, you can press letter N. So it's Alt N, or you can right click anywhere in this space here, and you get the option to click on new layer. Now, any of those options, whichever one you're comfortable with, fine with me. So I'm going to create a new layer. Now, so you notice you get a brand new layer added to the list, but the name that it has is not what we want it to be. And according to the standard, everything is in capital. So at this time, I will turn on my caps lock. Now we are going to go with the names first, and then we'll go with the colors, then we'll go with the line type, and then last line weight. That's the sequence we're going to go in. So we're going to just do all the names first to work in kind of order and not all over the place. So all you need to do is just type. And when you finish typing, to go to the next one, instead of clicking on the icon, you can just press the comma on the keyboard and it will just jump down and start another one. So I'm going to go with the first layer, which is A-DIMS. Now it doesn't matter which one you type, first, second, third, fourth, it will automatically sort itself in alphabetical order. So I'll just go with in whichever order I remember them. So once I finish typing, I just press the comma on the keyboard and it will just automatically add another one. So I'm going to type A-TEXT, and then you type, you press comma again, A dash door dash is timber doors, so TIMBER. Then I'm going to press comma again. Then it's A dash WIN for window dash GLAZ. Glaze is the category for that. So that's my window layer. Then I'm going to press comma again. Then I'm going to go with the fixtures layer. So that one is going to be P for plumbing dash FIXTURE space. I'm going to put the appliance on the same layer. So it's and APP, right? So it's fixture and appliance. I'm going to press comma one more time. A, doing the wall layer now, dash WALL dash CONC. And last but not least, comma one more time, is the foundation wall now. So A dash FDN wall. And because it's the last one, I just need to press the enter key once. All right. So Do you need some time to just quickly create the layers, the by name, and it will come back and assign the colors? If that is the case, please indicate. If you need a little time, I'll give you a minute to, to do what I have just done. And if there's a question, you could ask as well. So Richard is saying time needed with Alex. So I'm going to give you about a minute to catch up, but please indicate when you're finished so that I know when you're complete. All right, so just go into your layer properties manager. You type LA, enter, and then you're going to click that button, or you right click and choose new layer. Make sure your caps lock is on, and you type. After typing the end of the word, you're going to press the comma on the keyboard, and it will automatically end and begin a new one simultaneously. All right, I'll give you the time starting now. All right, I'm gonna have to probably bring out my timer so I have an idea how the time is going. So I will bring out a countdown software that will allow me to count you down a minute or 2 minutes or whatever the time is. So go ahead, continue. All right, so we have given some time for persons to quickly create the layers. I'm just waiting. Someone has left. All right, are we there now? Finish creating the names of the layers. All right, I'm gonna assume that you're okay now. I have not gotten any response. Two persons have indicated that they have finished. All right, Johnson, up in order for you to, it says, sir, it is not coming up in the order. No, it doesn't matter what order it is in. So what we are going to do, we are going to alphabetically sort it by clicking on this button at the top here, and it will sort it first in descending order. And you click again, it will sort it in ascending. So it doesn't matter what order it was in. Even if you close it and reopen it, it will automatically sort itself. But you can go ahead and sort it by clicking on the bar at the top here. When you click first, it will show in descending, and then you click one more time and it will be in ascending. So you can go ahead and do that. Okay, great. So that is how we put the names for the layers. But we want to proceed by adding colors now. You will notice that the default color is white. Now the only ones that we're going to keep white are zero layer. We're not going to change that one, and wall layer. So let's look at how we change the layer for the rest of them. So starting with ADIMS. All you need to do is to click on the word white or even the little box, and it's going to launch what is called your color selector for you to select. Now, we have no time to search through this list to find the color. So the easiest way to get to it is just type the number. So the index color for the dimension, if you notice, according to the standard, let me bring up the standard so you can see it again. There is a index color number for the dimension, and that's number 80. So we're using the fourth column now. So all we need to do is just, I'll just tell you the numbers. I'm just showing you where it comes from. But when it's time for you to do it another time, you know where to go. So I'm going to get back to this screen. All I need to do is just where white is type 80, 80, and then press enter. And immediately after that, it will automatically just put the color there. So for door, timber, click back on white. The color for that one is magenta, which is number 6. So you type 6, enter. So as it comes up, you just type the number, press enter. Foundation wall, we're changing it from white. The color is 21. So we just type 21 and then press enter, the foundation wall. Now for text, the color is number 2, which is yellow. And when you type the number, it will automatically find the name if it has a name. So that's 2. We're skipping over the wall layer and we're going down now to the window layer. Window now is number 4. So again, we click on the word white or on that little color picker, and the color for window glaze is number 4, which is cyan or cyan. And for fixtures, it's the first color in the system, which is number 1 out of the 255, which indicates red. So 1 for red. Everybody okay with how you assign the colors? Click on it and just type the number. And the numbers are as follows, just in case you missed it. Just in case you missed it. That's the standard up there with the color numbers, index color. All right. Give you another couple of seconds before we move on. So those are the numbers. Please, you can indicate by by you can indicate by unmuting and speak, so I can know that you're still there. Okay. Everybody all right?
Yes, sir. We're all right.
Okay, great.
Well, I am okay. I don't know about nobody else.
Well, if they are not, they need to indicate. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Let me go back to the. I see we have more persons join us, 13 people now. So, oh, but some persons join with more than one device. So they can watch on one device and then work on the other. That's fine. So let me go back to the. Remember to mute your device once you're not speaking. All right. All right, so we will continue by working with the line type this time. So instead of continuous line, one of them has a different line type, and that's our foundation wall layer. So I'm going to select that layer, and if you click on the word continuous, it will take you to the screen where the colors are loaded, not the colors, the line type. So it takes you to a dialog called select line type. Now the only line type that is currently loaded is the continuous one, but we want a hidden line type, not a solid line. So if you click on the load button, it takes you to a file called AutoCAD ISO .lin. Lin or lin is a file extension. Now, all of these line types in here, so from A to Z, they respond to metric scales. If you had started a drawing in Imperial, you would be seeing AutoCAD.lin with the same list, but the difference is those would respond to Imperial scale. So once you see ISO, you know you're in a metric standard. So these line types will respond to metric scale. So we want to click on any one and press H on the keyboard, and it will quickly jump down to the category for hidden. Now there are three hidden. You have hidden, hidden2, and hidden x2. The difference is hidden is like the original one. Hidden2 is half the length. The dashes are like half the length of hidden. And hidden x2 is where the length of the dash is twice the length of hidden. So it's like hidden is the original one, and then you have half the size and twice the size. Now the way how you use that is if you're going to use hidden, then you want to be consistent when it's time for center, you use center. But if you're going to use center 2, then when it's hidden time, you use hidden 2. And if you're going to use hidden x2, then when it's time, you would use center x2. So I am using center. So likewise, I will also use hidden. So in the standard that I have, I use hidden. All right, so what I need to do is to ensure that hidden is selected, then click OK, and it will show right now that 2 line types are currently loading. So what we are expected to do now is to choose the one that we want to draw for the foundation wall here. So we're going to click on hidden, and when you click OK, you will notice that the line type is no longer continuous, but hidden. We won't be using this line type until we've completed the floor plan, but we just get an idea how it works. Floor plan. All right, so that's the only one that will be a different line type. Let's move over now to the line weight. Now, before I go into that, let me go back to my share screen where I'll talk about the line weight a bit. Now, the line weight has to do with how broad or how thin a line is going to be. In your manual drawing class, you would have been using pencils to draw your line. So you were asked to buy mechanical pencils. So you would buy like a 0.5 or a 0.3 or a 0.7. For those persons who didn't want to buy it, they would sharpen their pencil and they would draw, and then by the time they make a couple strokes, the line type start to change in weight and sharpen again, and you have this, you know, inconsistent line type, and your lecturer would have been marking down for line weight and say, boy, they're not consistent. Well, we don't have that problem here. All we need to do is decide what line weight we want for the layer, and anytime that layer is being used, the line weight will always be the same, so it will be consistent. All right, so one of the things why we set up standard is so that we will have consistency across everybody's drawing. Because when a drawing is done by a company, it's not John Brown's work or Mary Jane work. It's the company's work. So it should not matter who does the work, it will look the same because they're all using the same standard. So in this class, the work will look the same in terms of the standard because it's the one standard we are using. And later on, these standards are going to become part of the marking criteria. So if it doesn't have the correct color or line weight or line type, then that is when you will lose the marks because you're using something else different from the standard. So we want our line weight, all of them will be default except the wall layer will be 0.5. But what I'm going to do is to assign the default to be a certain size. I'm going to make them 0.15. The program have a different default, and the default for the program is actually 0.25. So rather than changing each of them to 0.15, 0.15, 0.15 and wasting time, why not just go to where the default is and change it and make it be 0.15? And anytime you see default, then you know that the line weight will be 0.15. So that is why I'm taking that approach. Now the line weight default is not changed from the screen that we're on. So we're gonna wait until we finish, change the line weight, then we will come out of it, and then we'll look at how you change the line weight default. So let's just look at how you change the line weight for the wall layer first, which needs to be 0.5. So I'm going to go back to my drawing screen at this time. All right. And pick up the line weight. So for the wall layer, I'm selecting the wall layer. I'm going to change the default to 0.5 from the line weight default to 0.5. So when you click on the word default or the actual line, it will bring up a line weight selector. And then we're going to scroll down until we see 0.50 millimeters. So what it means, anytime I click OK, it means that that line will no longer be whatever it was, but it is now 0.5. But the rest of them are saying default, but nobody probably knows what that is. So let's look at how we change the line weight default so that all of them will be 0.15 rather than just saying default. Now I have set it on my machine already, so it means that when I go, I'm going to see the 0.15. If you have never done this on your personal machine, you're going to see 0.25 because the default for the program is 0.25. So we're going to be changing it from 0.25 to 0.15. But before we exit, let's just explore one more thing. You notice one of the layers has a green tick beside it, the zero layer. What that is indicating is that that layer is set current. If you notice, because the green tick is beside the zero layer, it is showing up here. So if I were to come and click on that down arrow, you'll notice all the layers that I'm seeing in this list correspond with the layers that we're seeing over here. So if I want to set another layer current, I have several options. I could just double click on it. So if I double click on the word, we have 10 minutes counting down time. So as soon as that comes up, we will reconnect again. All right, so let me close that reminder. There's a notification that tells me that there are 10 minutes left. All right, so if I were to double click on the foundation wall, click, click, you notice the green tick moves from zero layer to foundation wall. And if you look up here, you'll notice that immediately it is set current, and that's what you want. Now, another way to do it is you could, let me do another one now. You could basically right click on any layer and then you get a list coming up. Then you could choose set current. That's it. Or you could do Alt C, as well as we could just go to where the layers are and choose it. So if I come up here and choose a wall, immediately it will change. So I have no time every time to set a layer current to come back to this screen. You just go to where the list is on the layer panel and just choose from the list. Now be careful when you come here, because if you click on the color, it's going to think that you want to change the color and it's going to bring up a different screen and it won't change the layer. So this is if you wanted to change the color of the layer. So we're not going to do that. So remember, when you're changing your layer, you click on the down arrow and you choose by clicking on the word, not the color. And as time goes by, we'll look at all these features here, how you freeze or you thaw or you turn off a layer. So we can close the layer palette right now, and we'll look at how you set the line default to be 0.15. All right, now in order for you to do the line weight default, to change it, you have to ensure that you're seeing this icon down here, which is called show hide line type. Now, just in case you're not seeing that icon, then you'd have to go to your customization and then ensure that this option that says line weight has a check mark beside it. If the check mark is there, then you should be seeing the icon down here. We're not going to turn it on, because turn it on means just click on it for it to be blue. No, we want it to be off. So we're going to stay off. However, what we want to do is to right click on it. And when that little pop-up come up to say line weight settings, we're going to click on line weight settings. And when you click on line weight settings, shortly thereafter, this dialog box will come up, and you will notice that right now it's saying metric, because we start that drawing in metric. So millimeter is there. So we don't need to change that. What you're going to do is to check over here if your line weight default is 0.15. Now, if it was not that, then you would just change it to 0.15, because more likely it would have been 0.25 before. So you just change it to 0.15, and then it will be saying 0.15. Now, please do not change anything on this side. It should always be saying bilayer over on the left. It's only on the right hand side. We change it from 0.25 to 0.15. So once we click OK, it means therefore that if we have a drawing and we start drawing all of our layers, will be 0.15 if you're in the wall layer. Okay, so we're not going to be changing it. Again, we will leave it as 0.15, and only when we're drawing other things like the wall layer, it will be overriding that. So the wall will not be 0.15 because we changed it to 0.5. Everybody good so far? Good so far?
Sir.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Remember, if you have a
Sounds
question
good.
about anything that I have done, do not hesitate to ask, because I don't want when we reach 2 miles down the road, you're going to ask me what happened at half mile up the road, and then I have to go backtrack all of that. So now is the time to
Sir?
ask question. Yes.
All right, so the first thing is the layer listing.
Mm-hmm.
When I went in it, it's still not going in alphabetical order like what I said, and I did exactly what you said.
Mm-hmm.
And in the drop-down menu for layers, I'm not seeing what you are seeing.
You're not seeing these up here.
All right, voila, stop this.
Make sure you're on the layer panel. So you should see
Okay,
Home
all
tab,
right.
Layer panel, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's a drop down up here with the name of the layers. When you click on it, you're gonna see the list of layers. You're saying that you're seeing it now?
All right, yes, sir, I'm seeing that now.
Okay, so you're okay then.
Yeah.
All right, great. All right, so 4 minutes we have left. So I'll talk you through what we're going to be doing. After the reconnection, we will start drawing. So let me go back to the shared screen option to point it to the presentation. So in the interest of time, I will just go ahead and put in the rest of layers. And there's a correction. It's actually winds and not wind and not win. So it's window. So of course we can rename. So we can do that right now. We can rename a layer if it's incorrectly spelled. So I'll go back to the drawing. It's wins and not win. So you can go back same place in there again by typing LA, enter. And when it comes back up, you just select the one you want and right click and choose rename. Or you can click once, wait a couple seconds and click again, and then go between here and type your S. Press enter. Okay. There are other options like you can decide whether or not you want the layer to be able to plot. By default, all layers are plottable. But if I go and click on this, I would be barring this layer from printing. So it could not print. Well, let me just disable it from that. All right. All right, so let's close that and we go back to the share screen. All right, so over here now, our next move, because this is basically showing you on the other slide how to do all the things that we have done before. So it shows you the steps to load line type, how to do the line weight, how to change the color, how to delete a layer, how to set it current, and how to create a new one. It's just a one-page handout that make life easy for you. So you can do that. Plus there's a handout on the website with this as one document. The layer standard up top and the information how to do it below. So it's a one-page handout that I've created that will help you to be able to do all those things quickly. All right, but the next step now is to look at how we actually draw the floor plan. So that begins with the actual walls. So what I have done is to show you what the walls will look like, but the start point will be at the lower left-hand corner. So we're really going to be using the line command and to go around the building, and this represents the outside face of our wall. So a very good feature to be on right now is ortho, because we're going to be drawing a bunch of horizontal and vertical lines. All right, so it says we are going to be drawing the walls using line or polyline. We could use polyline, but I want to go with line first, and then we look at how we turn the lines into polyline, just in case somebody forget. how to do that so that we can offset all of them one time. So right now, I'm going to go back to my drawing screen, and everybody should ensure that they are in the wall layer, and also ensure that their ortho is turned on. All right, so mine is off. I'm going to turn it on. And also ensure that your dynamic input is also running in the background. So it should be on. If it's not showing up down here, you know that you can go to customization button and enable so that it will display down there dynamic input. All right. So those are the two things. We want to ensure that ortho is on and dynamic input is on, as well as we ensure that we're in wall layer. And then we're about to draw. Now, when it's time to start, if you notice there was a start point, and the start point is going to be at a specific location within our drawing limit. I'm hoping everybody who start the drawing after we would have done a zoom on. So we did our drawing limit already, which was 20,000, 15,000 for the upper right hand corner, and then we do Z enter, A enter. But when it's time to start the drawing, we are going to start at this start point, 2,500, 2,500. We're in our last countdown minute, so I'm not going to start drawing now until after we have reconnected. So I just want everybody to ensure that their drawing limit is already set and their layers are in place and we're ready to begin. Okay? Waiting for this connection. And then we reconnect after.